Doctor, I always worry when Gabriele has high temperature.
It's natural to be concerned, but the important thing to remember is that high temperature is a natural reaction of the immune system against attacks by bacteria and viruses. It's not always necessary to fight it. The important thing is to report it to your paediatrician, who can give you some useful information.
But what is the best way to take his temperature?
There are different types of thermometers, for example, digital and infrared ones. Generally speaking, digital thermometers are used to take the temperature rectally with young children. Even in this case, there are different types of digital thermometers. Some have a softer and longer rod, whilst some have a more anatomical shape and a shorter probe, so the child is more comfortable. It is also possible to lubricate the probe with Vaseline before inserting it. It's important to remember when taking a temperature rectally that it is not appropriate for the child to be lying flat and facing upwards. You may want to take his temperature from under the armpit. In this case, it's good to make sure that the child's skin is dry and that he remains still.
Can I try?
Sure.
It's easy. It's so flat and easy to read.
Yes, that's perfect.
And what about infrared thermometers? They seem more complicated.
There are actually different types of infrared thermometers. Those for taking the temperature in the ear and those that are applied to the skin of the temple, for example. The thermometers used to take the temperature reading inside of the ear may seem a little more complicated because they require greater dexterity, since the sensor is placed directly on the tympanic membrane. Those that take the temperature on the temple are a little simpler to use, because you just have to put the sensor on the forehead of the child, above the eyebrow, wait a few seconds, and then the thermometer will give you the temperature.
It is easy.
Of course.
I guess it's always best to use the same thermometer.
Yes, definitely. And it's always best to take the temperature at the same time of day, preferably in the morning or late afternoon. Definitely not after a meal or in the evening, because the temperature may vary at these times. If you need to retake the temperature, just wait a couple of minutes and then you can try again.
And if he has a high temperature?
In case of high temperature, it's a good idea to undress the baby, uncovering him as much as possible, give him a lot to drink during the daytime, and don't worry about how much he wants to eat. It's important not to force him to eat, but to follow his needs. In any case, I always advise visiting the paediatrician because in some situations it might be appropriate to use some antipyretics.
Thank you, you've been very kind.
Not at all.